My name is Billy Anderson, and I'm doing my theory on cognitive theory. This is my favorite theory because it makes sense. Just makes sense to me. Because basically, it means that if you can change your thinking, you can change your emotions and your behavior. The view that our thoughts influence our emotions and behavior is not a new idea. It's pretty much been around for centuries. Cognitive therapy can be used in almost any human services field. As a matter of fact, it's currently being used to treat depression, PTSD, anxiety, panic disorder, and even suicide. To illustrate this point, imagine you are asleep in bed and you hear crashing noises. And suppose you were to think it was an intruder, you'd probably be very anxious, nervous, and upset about it. But then suppose you knew that you had just got a new cat and your cat was always knocking things over. You might be mad that your cat's knocking things over, but or disappointed, but you wouldn't be, anxious. That's kind of how you can think about cognitive theory. Depending how you think is how you will react emotionally and also by behaviors. Cognitive therapy aims to adjust information processing and initiate positive change in all systems by acting through the cognitive system, aka the brain and your thoughts. Cognitive theory is based on a theory of personality that maintains that people respond to life events through cognitive, affective, motivational, and behavioral responses. The word cognitive or cognition means to know or to think. And cognitive therapy is basically looked at as psychological treatment of thoughts. Cognitive therapy is more educational than other directive forms of therapy. It is not magic. In order for one to benefit from it, effort must be taken in and outside of therapy. The first task of self-monitoring. Self-monitoring your thoughts. You can schedule activities for you to do that, or the easiest way is for you to write down. When there's a situation, you write the situation down, what your emotional thinking is, and then also what your first thoughts are. The more practice you put into using this technique, the better and more lasting your relief will be. The first step in tackling negative thoughts is to learn how to tease them out of your everyday experiences. Aaron Beck, who developed cognitive therapy, recommends monitoring your thoughts throughout the day. This way you gain proof of the inordinate amount of negative thinking. How much negative thinking do you have? And could that be causing your psychological issues such as depression or PTSD or any of that? Cognitive therapy techniques are simple in theory but require constant practice. We are thinking all the time. We are thinking constantly. And most of the time we put a great deal of effort into addressing the logic of our thoughts. But we just trust them to be logical and we trust our thoughts to be sound. However, they're not always. In order for cognitive techniques to work for you, you have to practice them every day. Every time you identify a distorted thought and modify it, you have strengthened a new way of thinking which can eventually become automatic. But every time you miss out or ignore a distorted or negative thought, you just strengthen your old ways of thinking and your old ways of behavior. The key is to find out where most of the cognitive distortions or negative thinking lies. The more effort you put into practicing this technique, and the more times that you pinpoint your negative thinking, the less risky your thoughts will become. If you can monitor your negative thoughts and see patterns of thought, then you will know when cognitive therapy theory is going to be most effectively used. Say you get nervous or you have negative thoughts when you're in front of people or when you have situations with family. Well, then you know when that negative thought's going to start, then you can try to think positively when a situation comes up. No matter what mental health issue you want to treat, cognitive therapy would work well to get a client to monitor their thoughts and rewire their thinking, which is basically what cognitive therapy theory is. Thank you.